My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote.com. That's SelectQuote.com.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
Fargo, the new virtual assistant from Wells Fargo, makes banking faster and easier. Like this.
Fargo, what's my checking account routing number?
And this.
Fargo, turn off my debit card.
And this.
Fargo, what did I spend on groceries last month?
And that's just the beginning. Do you, Fargo? You can. In the Wells Fargo mobile app. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/getfargo.
Terms and conditions apply. Your mobile carrier's availability and message and data rates may apply. Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
Educate, empower, enable, impact. Thank you for tuning in to That Will Never Work podcast, where we share inspiring information and personal experiences related to business and the entrepreneurial journey from those who are leaders in their respective field. Now, here's your host, author and business coach, Maurice.
Thank you very much for tuning in today. I have a powerhouse, energetic individual that's going to give us a lot of tidbits today. She is the transformational speaker, founder of You to Shine and Possibly Publishing International, best-selling author of Prosper Me, the 35 Universal Laws to Make Money Work for You, also 5 other books and 2 journals. She's also the creator of Empower Me and Master Me apps, founder of Free Me EFT and Quantum Freedom. I know I said a lot, but she's very down to earth, and she's very energetic. And if you take a look into what she has going on in other podcasts, you could definitely feel the energy through anything that she's doing. And I'm greatly appreciative for her coming on to That Will Never Work podcast today. And I introduce to you Miss Victoria Rader. Thank you, Victoria, for coming on today.
No, thank you so much for having me, for the great intro. Just keep on keeping on, my friend. We're best friends already.
I know, right? I know. So, one of the things that before we go way deep into the rabbit hole, if you will, I see that you were part of the John Maxwell leadership team founding partner, right? What is it like to be around that type of energy, and how has something like that influenced you to influence others?
Phenomenal question, really. John actually is the one who says you're the average of the 5 people you spend your time with. Now,
Yes.
dead or alive, right? Dead or
Yes.
alive is important. So you could, if you were, and listen, I've had an immense privilege, and I mean it as privilege, to be speaking and talking in very underprivileged countries and environments, where to get out and to get unstuck, the only way to do so is to surround yourself by books and YouTube, and you've got to create an artificial environment. But if you have a possibility to be talking face to face, voice to voice, listen to your podcast or similar stuff, the 5 people, if you want to know what your marriage problem is, look at your 5 closest friends and their marriages, your relationship, your finances.
Right.
And so, I think I will answer it in John's words. Being in that environment increases your average for leadership. And you first lead your life, and then you lead others. And so that was just an amazing opportunity for me, and continues to be such.
Nice. So just to give you an FYI, I did speak about that in a previous episode, that you are the average of the 5 people that you eat breakfast with. That was my mindset. So I started off this year. I wanted our listeners, hey, you know what? When you wake up in the morning, who are the people that you're talking to? Who are you speaking with? Who are you surrounding yourself with? So start off the new year with maybe a different group. It might have to be a different group of people that you're speaking to every day.
Just getting this very tingly, intuitive hit, right? I call it the voice of the spirit. I hope it doesn't rub anybody wrong. That's my language. Okay. And so when you say, who are you speaking to? Man, I use a phrase, the voice you listen to is the voice that dictates your life. Now, that's both internally and externally. It's first externally,
Wow.
and then those external voices, they will tune you into one of the two internal voices. We all have them.
Right,
We don't have
right,
to have a multiple personality to have two voices.
right.
There's a scared self and there's a sacred self.
Mm.
Every minute of every day, you're listening to one or the other. And the voice you listen to is the voice that will dictate your life. At least now you have the power of awareness to say, wait a minute, why am I listening to this voice inside of me?
Wow. So I'm gonna transition that into one of your topics that you don't mind speaking about, which is from scared to sacred, right?
Mhm.
And sometimes we get a little nervous hearing that internal voice, where we can be a little scared, you know,
Mhm.
um, because we're not sure where that's coming from, things like that. And when you speak positively about yourself, you manifest it, which is one of the things that you speak about often.
Mhm.
So what does it mean from being scared to sacred? That transition how tos, transformation how tos. What would you say to someone about that?
The whole concept came into my reality thanks to one of my clients years ago. She came over and she said, listen, I am struggling to commit. And I wanted to go
Hmm.
down the whole traditional pathway of commitment, good old Yoda, do or do not, there's no try, let's push and force. But what came through was so different and I think so impactful and empowering for me because what I told her, wait a minute, you're already very committed.
Mm-hmm.
You're just committed to your scared self.
Hmm.
So if we use that power of commitment that each one already has,
Right.
and if we just use those neural receptors in your brain to rededicate them to commit to the sacred part of who we are,
Hmm.
things shift. So,
Wow.
when all of a sudden you go like, oh, I'm not committed. Yes, you are. You're so freaking committed, you won't look into anything else in your life, right? I mean, so that's a good thing. It's a reframe. And then a secondary kind of aspect to that from scared to sacred that I think is huge is, and I think personal development, which I adore, I'm a
Mm-hmm.
part of, I love, has done great damage too. We've created this fairy tale of a hero journey. First, I was
Mm-hmm.
broke. Then I had an overcoming story. And now I'm happily ever after.
Right.
There isn't freaking happily ever after. There is overcome every single day.
Right.
And that is what happily ever after looks like.
Mm-hmm.
You no longer take a month or a year or a decade to snap out of it.
Hmm.
You snap out of it daily. I think we don't talk about it enough. We don't own it enough. But that is what that shift is. You wake up in the morning. Not you.
Right.
I
Right.
wake
Right.
up in the morning and I'm like, oh man, I've got 6 clients. I got Maurice as a podcast. I can't
Right.
move. I can't move. That's the scared. That's the one that says, who wants to hear you? What do you have to say?
Mm-hmm.
So the first step, you ask for the shift. The first step
Wow.
is to say, I hear you. You want to validate that part.
Wow.
You want to say, I hear you, scared Vika. I hear you.
Hmm.
And you know what else? I accept you. I'm not going to punish you. I'm not going to beat you out of me because you're part of me.
Hmm.
And you know what else? I love you.
Hmm.
And you know what else? And I have chills, and I hope somebody else who's listening does that. And I love you enough today not to listen to you,
Wow.
but to talk to you. You got this. You got this. It's huge. I hear you. I accept you. I love you. I love you enough to talk to you. You got this. And then a quick band-aid. 3 things I'm genuinely grateful for.
Hmm.
What are the 3 things I'm genuinely grateful for right now? And that is the life's fuel that gets you out of that bed of when you're feeling scared and unworthy and not enough.
So one of the things that I would like to pull out from what you just mentioned, and is yes, you said a whole lot, right? But it was also your tone and how calming it is. But also there's a sense of confidence in that. So how would someone get to that place of confidence that you were able to say, "Hey, I am an overcomer," if you will. I am able to face my whatever challenges that are coming up, that I already have the tools, I already have the resources, and I'm also not afraid to ask for help in that. So could you even explain maybe for yourself, give an example for yourself, how you were able to just say that just as confidently as you were?
You probably already have picked up I'm a very authentic person, right? Now there is masks gone. So, and if there were a question, an answer other than what I'm giving, I probably would have given it. But the answer is you've got to find a connection to higher power.
Mm-hmm.
The word confidence comes from Latin confidente, which means with faith.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all wonderful. We talk believing yourself, but there are times when you don't have it, when you ain't
Right.
got it. And it's so important to say those three words, help my unbelief. And when you say, I don't believe, I ain't got it, but somebody else has got me.
Right.
I want that power to work through me. I'm going to surrender my inability to a greater power to work through me. Now, I call that power God. You can call it whatever you call it, something that is breathing you. You're not breathing you, something that is breathing you. That what gives you confidence.
Mm-hmm.
I believe everlasting true confidence comes from the fact of knowing something far greater than you is breathing you. Something far greater than you can move obstacles out of your way if you surrender your ego and you need to be the one getting credit out of that power's way. You use your words to describe
Wow.
it, but it is the truth. It is the truth.
Wow. So, this podcast, this show actually has taken a turn from what I thought it was going to be originally. I'm going to be honest with you. Um, you know, so as a possibility coach, how do you define manifesting?
I define manifesting as possibility becoming reality. That's simple. There are levels of manifesting. The first one is until you know something is possible, you cannot manifest it. So the first one is you've just learned something is possible. But the second step is making a very important bridge because we all believe it's possible to be a millionaire. We all believe it's possible to have a happy relationship.
Right.
We all believe it's possible to be healthy and fit. The question is, do you believe it's possible for you too? So it's a very important second step. First, it's possible. Second, what if it were possible for me? It's very important to bridge that knowing with a question, not an affirmation. Because if you just say it's possible for me to be a billionaire, that little voice is going to say, hi, lunatic, let me sabotage you.
Right,
So
right.
you don't want to arm wrestle that. But if you say, what if it were possible? I have nothing to lose. It's a what if it were possible?
Wow.
What would I do then?
Mm-hmm.
This is $1 million question. I'm not asking you to say it's possible for me to have the job. I want you to say, what if it were possible for me to shift out of my career and into a full-time thriving business? What would I do then? And what would I do now to support the shift? So you're removing the stress of committing to a vision you don't yet have. Most people are stuck because they don't know how to commit to a vision they don't yet have. And the answer is you don't have to. You have to ask, what if it were possible for me? And then the third step is once we know it is possible, we develop practical, probable steps. Because just because it's possible for you, you want to take the probability from 1% to, 51.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So what is the relationship between universal laws and entrepreneurs? I saw this as one of your questions. And I was like, I'm not sure what that is. So what does that mean?
There are laws. I love laws. I actually went to law school and chose not to practice law because I'm like, I'm a lover, not a killer, and I have a killer instinct. I'm like, yeah, we don't want to feed that wolf.
Right.
We don't want to feed that wolf. So, we're gonna go for kindness instead and
Nice.
healing. What do
Right.
you know? So, They're laws.
Mm-hmm.
Not knowing the law does not excuse us from the law. So the laws will work either for you or against you.
Mm-hmm.
The law of gravity, amazing law. It keeps us attached to this planet so we don't fly off.
Right.
And yet, if you have a crazy idea to jump off the third floor, you're going to get hurt.
Right, right.
So you either work with the law or you work against it.
Mm-hmm.
So they're infinite laws, really, but they're basic laws that right now are working against you
Hmm.
through your subconscious programming. You have a subconscious
Yes.
programming that activates different laws. And as you work against those laws, nothing is working out, right? That just will not work for
Right, right,
you,
right.
you know. So that's just,
Right.
and one of the great laws is the love awareness. You know, our coaching program for entrepreneurs starts with awareness, love
Okay.
awareness. There's so much talk about awareness, but here's the truth. What you're aware of actively is what you create. I say, notice what you notice,
Mm-hmm.
because what you notice and how you notice is what you create more of.
Hmm.
So, right now, look at your day. You know, I had an amazing opportunity to be coached by mentored one-on-one actually by Bob Proctor.
Okay.
Bob and I had this friendly, loving disagreement because he was like, to achieve anything, you have to be on 100% resolve.
Okay.
And I'm like, I'm a girl. I have hormones. Nothing is 100%. I mean, let's just not go there. But I also taught statistics. And
Okay.
what I've learned is that dominant frequency is 51%.
Hmm.
So if I'm 51% focusing on positive, on nourishing, on achieving,
Mm-hmm.
that frequency is enough to start creating that in my life.
Hmm.
And the more I increase the percentage, the more probable it becomes. And so, what would be an example? You're struggling in your business, their cash flow is not coming in. So, you're like, I got to solve the problem with cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
That would be wrong because the cash flow is never a problem, it is a symptom of an underlying problem. So, you have a cash flow, you want to pause and say, what is the best shift I can make? That the symptom of that shift will
Hmm.
be better cash flow. It sounds like the same thing. It is not.
Mm-hmm.
It is you're applying a different law instead of patching, that game Whack-A-Mole, where you just patch one hole and the other one jumps up.
Right,
A
right,
lot of the entrepreneurial business is just like that. We're like whacking it,
right.
versus going back and saying, oh, off button. I can turn it off. And
Mm-hmm.
as I
Mm-hmm.
turn it off, holes no longer pop up. So that's what no universal laws is.
So it's interesting because I have a lot of people that are trying to determine which way they want to go, and again, one of my previous shows I spoke about like the golden, um, what is it called? It's not the golden rule, but is when you are held back because of what the job holds you back. Again, that law of, hey, you know what, these pay my bills, but I do have a bigger dream. I have bigger goals than just working this 9 to 5. So how would you that perceived law or perceived line? How would you encourage someone to get over that? Because that's what I'm hearing, like things that's holding people back. How would you encourage someone to
Yeah.
get over that hurdle?
It's interesting that you ask that. So I've done some solo books, I've done some collaboration books, and the book that is launching today at the time of recording, July 11th, is
Mm-hmm.
the book that's called Joy of Work. And in that collaborative
Nice.
book, my last chapter is called Just Love. And the answer in
Hmm.
that chapter is all of us, okay, going back to the love awareness I just said, right?
Right.
And what you notice is what you create. If you're noticing that you're being stuck at your work
Mm-hmm.
and you don't know how to get out and the dream seems unachievable, you're managing more of that and you're creating more of that. So the first step is
Hmm.
no matter what your work is like right now, what is the one thing you absolutely love about it?
Hmm.
What if there
Mm-hmm.
were two things? What is it that's going to get you so excited to go do your work as you love what you do?
Mm-hmm.
Opportunity to do what you love opens up. In my life, I was an incredibly shy kid. I mean, we could talk about that for 9 hours. Can't really tell that now very easily. Okay. Very shy kid. I did not have friends not talk to people till I was about 11, just the whole thing. In 2006, took my kids to Greece, homeschooling, came home, put my family in debt. My husband sat me down, explained to me that the plastic I was swiping had no money attached to it. So I go like, okay, it's good to know, good to know.
Right.
By then I know I'm not going to sacrifice homeschooling. I love it. I'm not going to sacrifice traveling. I love it. So I have to sacrifice what? My weakness, my shyness. That's going to be a sacrifice. And so I get into real estate where you have to talk to people.
Right.
I sob every freaking single night because the poor me thinks, oh my gosh, I'm going to be rejected. I'm going to be, this is a job.
Right.
It's this. Until one day I say, literally, what is it that you love about it? I love serving people and do that. Everything else is secondary. And then the miracle started unfolding because doing the one thing that I loved changed everything that I did. Then all of a sudden, it became a top 1% agent in the US during recession, homeschooling my kids, never working on Sunday, traveling the world. Another broker just started saying, come tell us how it is that you do it. I start telling him, I find out that, oh my gosh, these subconscious blocks are where it's at. I go get a PhD in metaphysical studies, and now I do what I love, but I got here because I first loved what I did.
Okay. Nice. So, Victoria, you have offered a lot. I'm sorry, we running out of time. You, like you said, we could be here probably for a long time because you're giving us such a great information, and you're providing something that quite interesting. Not any other guests have offered yet. And so what you're offering is very valuable, and I'm greatly appreciative of that. So
Thank
Victoria, is there anything else you would like to share with our listeners today? Your website, any free gifts or anything, you want to put out there to them?
Two things. We just launched, really one thing, because all of it can be through that. We just launched a free Facebook group.
Okay.
It's called freeme.coach. If you go to freeme.coach, love freedom. Ukrainian, we love freedom. Okay.
Right.
Freedom is where it's at. Okay. So the group is called You to Shine, which is my company's name. And then it is prosperity, freedom, and empowerment for mindful entrepreneurs.
Okay.
So when you go to freeme.coach, what you can expect there is that free lives where we will be taking a spiritual law, how it works for you or against you, and simple adaptation to implement that in your life. I'll be doing lives doing that. The very first live that I'll be doing through that group will be Shift Your Money Mindset. And that recording will stay there for a while.
Okay. Yeah. So how about your social media? Anything you would like for them to connect with you on, or any speaking engagements you have coming up that you'd like to share? I
think as we're pouring into this Facebook group, we're going to be posting everything there because the truth is there's so much that I do. It's easier to share one thing than it is to be confused. So freeme.coach is, I think, where the most accessible, most practical, yet spiritually based value is going to be unfolding.
Cool. So before I let you go, I ask this one question of all my guests, and it's would you rather? Would you rather choose a fork in the road or 3 doors?
I wouldn't choose. I will have both.
Really?
I'm done sacrificing. I'm gonna walk through each door and pursue each of them. I'm sorry, that's just who I am.
Look, there's no problem with that. That's a very interesting response, though. Well, Victoria, I thank you very much for coming on today. I hope those of you that are listening out here, be sure to go to her website, go to her Facebook information. The information will be in the description. And thank y'all very much for listening today. Victoria, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. Thank you very much for listening, and we will see you later.
Thanks for listening. Find us on social media at Chisholm Group LLC and check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, That will never work. Or will it?
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote.com. That's SelectQuote.com.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, oh, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.